Welcome. Well, we'll pick up the last video with the Comic Corner. Let's pick up basically with issue 47 of Sensational She-Hulk, because that's where we left off. So 47, in the case of like the whole thing resolving this whole plot thread of oh, She-Hulk is basically got the physique of Wiz, and Wiz got She-Hulk physique. That's ignored this issue. This is just a filler issue, and my guess is the issue wasn't ready yet, but they need an issue to fill in. So Simon Furman basically steps in and just does his issue. Yep. Those unfamiliar with this guy, this is the guy who was the final writer of the Transformers comic from Marvel, who came back to Generation 1. He's done some comics over the years. Yeah, that's who he is. So this book is something with a parody of the Thunderbirds TV show. Basically, this whole thing is about puppets. Then we have the blonde Phantom getting changed in this woman's back seat. Oh yeah, then of course, basically, someone tries to say somebody. Of course, it's a weird issue, and She-Hulk physique is perfectly fine, and Wiz is basically I think this is supposed to be her daughter. It's an odd issue, and then of course, turns this whole thing was done by Puppmaster, and then the very next issue. This is the issue that my guess is probably should have been 47, but my guess is maybe that they need to get John Byrne issue off. Maybe the issue wasn't ready. I don't know. So we have the Thing try to fix, basically reverse the physiques for She-Hulk and Wiz. She-Hulk became short, but not exactly chubby, because apparently before she was chubby, and later artwork she looked like she lost some weight, but still a bit chunky, but not terrible. We have Ree becoming nuts because of the whole body swap thing, and of course that was brain swap, of course, referencing the X-Men here. Yeah, and so She-Hulk tries to jump into her boyfriend's arms. He's like, what the heck is going on here? And of course, Wiz basically kind of likes it. Of course, apparently the only way that she likes me like this, and She-Hulk is just a little weak. So she becomes a big celebrity, and then we actually we mentioned the whole thing of when Reed and Dr. Doom swap bodies, and well, they can switch back, but only if basically that she agrees to it. And then goes to issue 49. Yeah, so she's not liking it very much, and she's got a big celebrity. Well, she's taking out criminals. Oh yeah, and then we see that She-Hulk's father is just missing Wiz. Yep, and of course Titania shows up, beats up She-Hulk in this small form. Yeah, beats her up here. Yeah, and then of course apparently goes on the air, and then of course basically and she's on a version of Oprah called Opal. And of course he tells Wiz that he loves her exactly who she is. Yeah, and then of course during the course of the fight, She-Hulk is sort of back to normal form, and Wiz is back to normal. And then move on to issue 50. The 48-page special. Yeah, and here's kind of the thing with this one. This is a tie-in to this whole issue is basically She-Hulk looking for Namor. So this is basically taking place during the really good run John Byrne was doing on Namor, the Submariner. Which, if you ever get a chance to read it, check it out. The book is so freaking good. I mean, it's a shame that the run was never finished collecting and trade. Nope. I think the first they got to was about almost half the book, and then they just stopped. I think they collected the first 30 issues. Yep, so the whole thing with this book is basically She-Hulk going around looking for Namor. That's the whole thing with this 48-page special issue for the 50th issue of the series. And then she runs. And then we have backup story. Or it's only Howard Mankey, where she runs into the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider, very briefly. And then we have Michael Edry, fights a robot guy. And of course, Byrne gives her another story like kitty stuff. And that's the issue. They give special thanks to Dave Gibbons, Frank Miller, Wendy P., Walt Simmons, Terry Austin, Howard Schenken, Howard Hughes, and Howard Mankey. Great. So thanks to John Byrne himself for calling memorable work. Been fun. I think this was the final issue of the run for John Byrne. Because I don't think he finished up the book. No. I know we're not done yet. We have like less than 10 issues left to go because this book was 60 issues. Yeah, can you believe this book was 60 issues, making it like the longest show book to date? It's coming up, don't worry. Good check right now. See, this was the final issue of his run because. Yeah, so this is technically John Byrne's last issue he did for Sensational She-Hulk. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Yes, this was his last issue he did. So I guess now, basically, I give my final thoughts on John Byrne's run on Sensational She-Hulk. Really good run. I enjoyed every single issue that he worked on. Out of all the issues, he didn't do a lot per se. He did the first 8, 31 to 46, and 48 to 50. And that was it. Now, as for why he only did these issues, I don't know. It just seems kind of odd that he would just do these small amount of issues. And in case you're curious, though, are all of his issues he did in trade? Yes, they are. Yep, all the issues he worked on. But not all the issues per se. Yes, for some reason, and I'm looking this up right now, it seems that all but like what appears to be like one issue is not in trade. And that was issue 40, so I just discussed this one. Yeah, that issue is not in trade for some reason. You're like, really? It isn't? Yes. For some strange reason, Marvel decided to skip this issue. Maybe it might be collected in the next Epic collection for She-Hulk. It's possible. Who knows? Yep. But we're not done here just yet. Oh, and I give the Sensational She-Hulk issues 40 to 50 a 10 out of 10. Really good stuff. Next up is a bit of an interesting kind of issues for X-Factor. Yep. We're here discussing for X-Factor issues 39 through 45 of X-Factor Volume 3 by Peter David. Excuse me, which are collected in a trade known as Time and a Half. So, 39 is the debut of Siren's baby, who she says named after her late father, Banshee. And she's, of course, screaming because she's a Banshee. And then, of course, it's Mandrix's baby. And as soon as he holds it, the baby goes inside of him. You're like, what happened here? So apparently, Siren gave birth to a dupe. And she's so upset, she's scratching at him. And of course she's upset. And then she holds out his hand. And she says, "I'm sorry." "What are you sorry for?" "For this." And proceeds to break one of his fingers. And then tells him to leave. And then he basically comes distraught afterwards. And then Lila Miller finds him and they sleep together. When she's a little bit older, not she's not a little girl anymore. Yeah. But that's the big thing related to this issue is that, well, yeah. Siren herself takes a break from the book for a while. So, basically the whole thing with the next few issues is that Banshee is trying to, when Siren's trying to redeem herself. Managing himself basically is like on the run for his own team. He's apparently lost his way. And then Lila Miller shows up at the end of issue 40. Yep, and of course, he's very happy reunited with her. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, wait, when this book starts, she was a little girl, now she's an adult, what the heck happened? During the events of Messiah Complex, in the X-Factor tie-in, managers sending dupes all over the timeline, and apparently Lila followed one of them to the Days of Future Past storyline. That's where the M comes in. And M himself pretty much remained there, from what I can tell, up until very recently. Yes. So yeah, there's reference in here. Of course, Strong Guy's in here too, doing his own thing. And of course, yeah. And then we see the girl, Ruby, who I think is supposed to be like a clone of... We kind of get basically what happened in the future, where they run into like a future version of Doctor Doom with somehow alive in this timeline. Yeah, it's particularly a little weird. Then we see this woman who kisses Longshot, and then of course Ruby shows up, and of course this is in the far future. Yeah, apparently she's supposed to be like a relative of the Summers family. Of course they fight Sentinels in here. And then they run into Old Man Cyclops. Excuse me, yep. It's Cyclops, alright, who apparently has put on a few pounds and has lost his arm and his leg. And apparently, Scott Summers, this version anyways, in the future past, it's also with Darwin here in the past, and of course, basically, like, yeah, so this is set in a version of Days of Future Past, but not the main Days of Future Past. And of course, you have Mandrix basically just... Yep, though other weird stuff happens here. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, present day, there's a guy with sheath showing up with blades in his hands, and it's freaking Shatterstar. And I'm going to talk about basically a very controversial thing that Rob Liefeld, Shatterstar's creator, has criticized Peter David for. We'll get to that. So yeah, so apparently that Jamie and Lila slept together in the future. So we have Monette where she's like doing stuff with Darwin, and of course like, oh, like, let's go out, and kind of issue. Issue ends look like Monette going berserk.
Welcome back to...
Sorry about that. So and moving on. Stop it. Thank you. So, moving on to the finale for this story arc, where there's still stuff in the future where Doc Doom was somehow alive, despite the fact that he should not be. Oh yeah, the guy who's supposed to be Doc Doom was actually standing for the real Doc Doom, who's in a wheelchair. So, then apparently it's real that Shatterstar's being in control while attacking them. Yes. Yeah, so he stops attacking them. And explains everything, and then comes the moment that Rob Liefeld openly criticized Peter David for. So Shadows are turning back normal, and the first thing he does, he kisses Richter in the lips. And Guido's like, didn't see that coming. Yes. And this is something that Rob Liefeld hated the fact this happened to Shatterstar. Basically, Peter David outed Shatterstar as gay. So, Rob Liefeld went on a tirade about this. He absolutely hated the fact that this happened. I'm not personally affected by it at all because it's a weird development. It comes out of nowhere. And it's a very interesting ending to this book. Yes. Though, of course, later on, Richter basically would he'd be in a relationship with him for a little while, and then they break up, and then Richter decided to date Iceman for some strange reason. Yes. Because, they broke up with their boyfriends, so let's have the two gay mutants hook up for some stupid reason. I rather wish Marvel would undo the stupid thing of outing Iceman as gay. This I'm not bothered by. I was bothered by more with Iceman because that was freaking stupid. Yeah, so I should point out though, in case you're curious, did Rob Liefeld create Richter? Excuse me. The answer is no. Richter was not created by Rob Liefeld. He was created by Louise and Walt Simonson. Now the thing is, I know that Rob Liefeld is open to criticize this. So this is based upon subtext from the 90s. So, yeah. So it's like, Loeb wanted to do this, other writers would do this, but Rob Liefeld didn't want this to happen at all. Yes. I don't know if he's head back on this at all, but I don't hate this. Because, reading this online, this apparently was something they planned for years, as far back as the 90s. I like it the case of Iceman, where that was done for publicity's sake. But I do like this story, what it is. And this is the penultimate trade that collect issues from Volume 3, because the very next trade will be the end of Volume 3, and I'll go to the triple-digit numbering issues, which is going to be so fun to discuss those issues, yeah? But what are these issues? 10 out of 10. Really good. I don't have anything negative to say about this. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and join the like button. Well, next up is Fairy Tale One Hero's Quest. Okay, next video. Bye.